Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, The Imperial Zoo, from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. This is written by T.S. Lukehart with Elaine Lithgow and Padraig Murphy. This 144-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $39.99, which includes the PDF if you order from Cubicle 7 Entertainment, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. All right, all that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Imperial Zoo for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Couple of things I want to mention before we jump on in. First of all, my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the Imperial Zoo, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what's in the book and discuss it with you as well. All right, let's jump on in so we get a nice spread of Altdorf, which we've seen in other Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay releases. So the Imperial Zoo is a bestiary, but it's not your typical bestiary where it's just creature entry, stat blocks, creature entry, stat blocks, creature entry, stat blocks. And I'll get into a little bit of that in just a moment, but we do have quite a few artists who were involved in the production of the Imperial Zoo. So let's make sure we give them credit there. So we have fiction with this as well. So the bestiary is actually part of an ongoing story about these 6 characters who embark on 3 different expeditions to learn more about the creatures who happen to inhabit the old world. And you'll see here, we've got these little seals, which will indicate who is making comments in these various different entries, which you'll see in just a moment. So as an example, we get the Great Stag. We get information about the Great Stag. We get some very cool artwork. And then we'll actually get the stat blocks. And many times we'll actually get multiple stat blocks for different variations of that creature. So as an example, there's forest goblins. So we'll have the forest goblin, and then we have forest goblin shaman, and then we also get the giant spiders that they worship, some spells, and so forth. So not just the kind of dry, typical bestiary that we see from most fantasy role-playing games. Now, having said that, I'm sure there will be people out there who are not going to appreciate the ongoing fiction that runs throughout the Imperial Zoo. And I get it. To be honest, I would have liked to have seen a few more creatures in this book than we have presented, although we've got like 60. So it's not as if we're only getting just a handful of various different monsters in that. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, maybe a little less fiction. But we also get these entries from the various different members of the expeditions, and their information isn't necessarily reliable. They are rather unreliable narrators. There you go. Nice goblin picking its nose. We've got the wyvern. But we do have some really cool creatures in here. And then we'll have them actually presented by way of each of the 3 expeditions. We will find some creatures here that are specifically named. So they are more along the lines of monster NPCs than they are just the typical monsters. So I like that also. I really dig the appendices that we get, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now, the underlying story, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but it does encompass the discovery of the Skaven. Wait, what? Skaven? They don't exist. What are you talking about, Jeff? No, they don't exist. So there is the storyline of the discovery of the Skaven throughout the fiction. And the fiction is cool. I'm not knocking it in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I would have just liked to have seen a handful more creatures, maybe a little less focus on the background story. We also will get these appendices, and here's one of those named creatures. It's a Leviathan, Il Potente Granchio. But as you can see, artwork throughout, really, really well done. So then we actually get into the appendices. So we have information about the value of the carcasses of some of these creatures and what they contain, what they could be used for. So we do have all these different prices for various different creatures. We have different potions that can be made with them, different poisons. I thought that was very cool. We get some new weapons and armor, which can be made from parts of some of these creatures. We even get information about these expeditions that go out looking to catalog the various creatures and monsters that reside in the old world. And then we get the pre-gens of those 6 characters. I thought that was a nice touch to this. If you wanted to utilize them in your game, maybe the player characters encounter one of these expeditions, or maybe they're hired to go on one of these expeditions. So I like that quite a bit. Then we do wrap up with some new monster traits, and we get summaries of the monster traits, an index, and some artwork of the various different creatures to kind of give you an idea of size. So there is that Leviathan compared to the Wyvern. Pretty big. And that's what wraps up the Imperial Zoo for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Let me swing on over to the other cameras so I can share some final thoughts and give this a review score. Unlike the Imperial Zoo, I'm glad we finally got an opportunity to see a bestiary from Cubicle 7 Entertainment for WIFRIP, and the creatures within are pretty entertaining. Now, there is a little bit of redundancy from the creatures that we've seen previously in the core rulebook, but this fleshes them out quite a bit. And there are some interesting new creature traits as well in the book. I like the extras as far as the appendices with the pre-gens and the what are these carcasses worth and what kind of components can you extract from them and so forth. I like that. So there's a little bit of crafting that's brought to the game. Not a ton, but a wee bit of crafting as far as utilizing a monster parts. So I do like that. Do want to point out, once again, I wish there had been a few more creatures, maybe a little less fiction, but the story itself is entertaining, that's for sure. It's got a little bit of a downer ending, no spoilers, but it's a wee bit of a downer there. Well, a little more than wee bit, but still. On a scale of 0 to 10, I give Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay The Imperial Zoo an 8.5 out of 10. I can certainly recommend it for those of you out there who enjoy Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay as I do, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell It'll not only let you know when I upload videos such as this review, you'll also be informed when my live stream, The Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for joining me today for this review. And until I see you next time, here's hoping all of you out there get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.